You are hanging out in the break room, 96.5 WCMF. Joining us in the Stoneyard Brewing Company hot seat, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy you pay admission to see, head coach Rex Ryan. How's it going, Coach?
It's going great. How are you?
Good. So a little change of practice today? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's sprinkling out there.
It's coming down. We're finding all the leaks in the tent right now, right?
Yeah.
There's just water coming down on all of us here.
I tell you what, because I'm sitting back and I'm like, this has been fantastic and, no problems whatsoever. We forgot to put the Invisidome up, because we haven't had any rain. It's been perfect. We forgot to put it up, and we're paying for it now.
All right, well, Coach, let's get into this. The big offseason news for you personally, you're the addition of your brother to the Buffalo Bills staff. So what's it like having a guy you shared everything with your entire life now working with you side by side?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I think for us, number one, it was, I had to, I never had to beg him to come with us, but he had, a lot of opportunities out there. And I'm like, look, this is the spot to be in. And the best thing we did was last year, after he was let go by the Saints, he spent about a week with our team, and he thought that, we're close. And he also liked the way we practice, liked the players, liked the coaches. And he said, I'd like to be a part of you. So that worked out great. And, I already see it paying off. With our guys. I think our defense, especially our underneath coverage, things like that have really improved. And he's brought a lot to the table. Fits right in with the scheme and everything. So he's been a great addition.
Do you have to not pay him as much because it's family? Because I know that's in my family. Like if you do something for family,
absolutely.
I don't have to pay you full price, right? You come over every Sunday and eat at the house.
That is a great point. I don't think he was going for it.
You can cut 10% off.
Well, Coach, talk to me about, and listen, you guys can't agree on everything all the time. What's a disagreement like when you have your twin brother with you in the room of defensive guys that have no relation to you? I mean, does it get intense? Do you guys understand each other?
Well, it's with any coach. I think when you're going, there will be, some disagreements or whatever, but a lot of it is, and that's a good thing, is that you don't want to just, just your ideas or whatever. You want to bounce different ideas off everybody, and that's been good. He sees things differently. I mean, he was a coordinator for 12 years. He basically was under the Belichick tree for, won 2 Super Bowls there with him as a position coach. So he'll give you a different perspective of things. Really, the hardest working coach, in the league, and I don't care what they say, it's the truth. And he's so that's been a real positive for us. But at the end of the day, it does say head coach by my name, so I'll be like, nah, I'm sorry, dude.
Bills head coach Rex Ryan sitting down with us, Stoneyard Brewing Company hot seat. So, you're a player's coach. You're that guy. Guys we talk to here sit down, and as soon as we say your name, big smile across their faces. But, towards the end of last year, there were some, difficulties in the locker room, at least perceived from the outside. You're a guy that coaches with swagger. Mm-hmm. Was it harder to walk around with that swagger towards the end of last year with what was happening inside the locker room that we couldn't see?
No, I think first off that we really never had any issues. We had, I get the perception because there's a negative guy. A guy makes a comment here or there that doesn't agree with a scheme. That happens anywhere when you're not doing, as well as you thought. But I guess the swagger, whatever, it's more of a confidence thing. And I think when you look at my history as a coach has been, it's been pretty decent. I think as a family, we've gone to 6 Super Bowls, won 5 of them. So will I walk with a swagger? Always.
Yeah, you bring up that as a family, you went to 6 Super Bowls, won 5 of them.
Yeah.
You worked under your dad for 2 years in Arizona.
Right.
In fact, that was your first NFL job, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
So your son Seth is at Clemson right now. He's got 2 years left, right?
Right.
Is he looking to get into the coaching stuff? Because I don't know. You're the guy who scouts talent. Do you think your son has a future as a wide receiver in the NFL?
No.
You want to think about it?
It's funny. But although there was a GM told me he's going to take him, so he's he did lead Clemson in catches, yards, and touchdowns this spring. So he's a decent talent. He was actually a better baseball player in high school than he was a football player, and yet he's playing at Clemson. So that ought to tell you. I think he was 2 stolen bases away from the state record in New Jersey.
No kidding.
A guy named Willie Wilson has it.
Well, it's Jersey. They steal everything.
Yeah. But Willie Wilson played for years and years, obviously, in the majors. So the kid's a talent. It's just, I don't think he's going to ever play in the league.
Well, let's say he wants to go into coaching. Are you the guy that wants to give him his first job, or do you want someone else to break him in before he comes and works under you?
I think one day I would love for him to coach with me. I don't think there's any doubt. That was a great thing for me. I coached 8 years of small college football, 1 AA football, and when I went with my dad, those 2 years that I was with my dad coaching beside him really is what molded me into becoming a coach that I am now. And without those years, there's no way I would have. I would have just been maybe a decent coach, but never to this point.
Head coach Rex Ryan hanging out in the Stone Yard Brewing Company hot seat. All right, you and me just talking. Be honest with me. 12 months ago, did you believe Tyrod Taylor could be the quarterback that he has become for this team? Because, listen, it was a year ago. We didn't know if he was the starting quarterback here.
Right. Remember I tried to trade for him when I was with the Jets. So, yeah, I knew I thought that he could definitely be this guy. And really, there are several reasons because of it. 2 of those reasons, one Ray Lewis, one Ed Reed, when I spoke to them about him, they were putting their stamp on him and all that. Another coach that coached with him. It's interesting, Jim Caldwell had told me that he compares him, to another guy that's had a lot of success in this league, and he thought Tyrod might actually be better. And then they even had a guy named Cam Cameron, who was a coordinator under him. He thinks that Tyrod has the stuff to win a championship with. So that this really doesn't surprise me. The thing that I love most about where he's come from last year to now is he's really taken this team on. And he's taken that, sometimes your quarterback, you want him to be your leader. And he's definitely taken that role on.
Bills head coach Rex Ryan hanging out in the Stone Yard Brewing Company hot seat. The truck, right? That was the big news last year. You get the truck wrapped in the Bills stuff. You're still driving the truck. You know how Bills fans can be. There had to have been some awkward interactions now that everyone knows what kind of truck you're driving all around Western New York, right?
Yeah. There's what's weird is when somebody will see the truck out there, and then they'll go in and they'll come to your store, like whatever store you're in, they'll take pictures and all that stuff with
just
you.
A truck.
But it's crazy. The worst is when you're driving down the highway, and then there's like people are trying to take pictures of you as you go.
Yeah, it can get a little dangerous.
And then so that one I'm a little leery of, and then the other thing I'm like, oh man, if I'm speeding, I'm like, is this going to be plastered on the thing? So
right.
Those are things. Trust me, I think all that.
Well, are you the only one that drives it? The wife, kids, when everyone's in town?
Nah, it's just me.
Because that would be uncomfortable, right?
Every now and then, sometimes, one of our intern, coaches or something like that, they'll take the truck somewhere.
Man, how disappointing is that if you're somebody waiting for that person to get out of the truck and it's not Rex Ryan?
I think you're happy with it, to be honest with you.
Coach, you were you became more of a household name thanks to Hard Knocks on HBO. And I think a lot of folks, Tommy, you included, thought we were going to be on Hard Knocks this season. You have you and your brother together. Shady's a big name. The Tyrod situation, first female coach in the NFL, and you were great on it the first time. Would that be something you're open to doing again if they came and asked?
Only if the organization wanted to do that. Quite honestly,
is it a pain in the ass?
I never wanted to do it.
Really?
No. And I never wanted to do it in the first place.
I bet this is it too much on top of everything else? Too many distractions?
It's not as distracting as you think because the cameras are so small that they're around. You don't even realize it. But then, but when they had the helicopter camera or something like that, that kind of like, what is this? But I don't think it's something you volunteer for. But if your team, wants to do that, then, that's fine. And I always thought of it when they asked me about it and they said we were going to do it. And I'm like, what? We got nothing to hide. Let's just be ourselves. And I think that's
what made the show so great.
Right. And
that's what made it so funny.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's more – I'd rather see it genuine that way than something else. And I think that's why it was probably a better show because of that.
It was loose.
Yeah.
Listen, you got the best sound bites of all time from that show. Radio shows in Western New York are built around the things that you said in that show. They're phenomenal.
I know. I had no idea about getting a snack would be.
But that's like,
it's like really
the greatest line since The Sopranos.
Tommy was sitting here earlier.
Best line since The Sopranos.
What was the other Sopranos line?
Oh, what the hell was it?
How about the Big Ziti? There were so many lines in that thing, man. That was the greatest show ever.
Yeah. Head coach Rex Ryan hanging out with us in the Stone Yard Brewing Company hot seat. All right, I have to ask you this. We've been asking all the guys that Tommy admires. Tommy, my co-host here. Tommy is a guy who makes people come to him to introduce themselves. He thinks that he is at a position in his career in that shirt and those shorts.
Just getting too old to get up.
Like, for example, there's a kid we work with, right? Like 30-year-old guy. And loves Tommy.
But he was a new kid.
For 6 months, he said hello to Tommy every day, and Tommy would not look over and acknowledge him.
I gave him a little something.
Never happened.
A little something.
Not only that, a guy that sits next to him at our job, he would go out of his way to say hi to every day.
40 years in the business. The guy's an institution.
Rex, are you a come up and introduce yourself guy, or are you a you got to earn my respect to say hello guy?
I'm just the opposite. I think, so I'll go up and introduce myself, or I don't know, just let it happen naturally. But
yeah, that's what
I love
doing.
the way you do it with you breaking them in. Like, that is hysterical.
But listen, there are men
the
in
guy
radio.
could have got fired. And in our business, you could be shot out of here tomorrow. I don't want to make friends again.
Well, hey, let me tell you, the coaching business.
Right. Do you want to make friends with a guy next thing you know he's boxing up this stuff and he's a trail of tears out to the car?
Well, but bro,
oh my
you can
goodness.
still say hi to the kid.
My goodness.
All right, Coach, we really appreciate you sitting down with us. Before I let you go, we got a gift for you in just a second. With all of the Ryans that have been coaching the NFL, your brother, you, your dad, possibly the son coming in, if you're the Ryan with the best, that's remembered the best, as the best NFL head coach, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it, but not really. I think for me, my dad would always say this. He wanted my brother and I to be a little bit better than him, and that's what you want as a father. I would want my son to be a little bit better than me. You don't have to knock the top off, but just if he's a little bit better than me, that'll be just that'll be pretty good.
And look, I know you're a guy that wants to be number one, but would you ever argue? Are you a guy that argues I'm a better head coach than my dad was? I'm a better coordinator than my dad was?
Nah, I don't think so. I think I'm proud of my dad. I think one day he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I'm hoping that happens. So I think if they do have when you look at it as guys that changed the game and affected the game, I think my dad would be right there.
Yeah, that whole 30 for 30 with the Bears was really about your father.
Yeah, it
all built up to that letter that he wrote to his players. That whole, and you didn't realize it till close to the end of that. It was a phenomenal 30 for 30.
Yeah, I think that was. I thought it was really good, and it was a powerful piece for especially people that weren't really, around it. I think people that were around it know the kind of impact my dad has,
right?
And
as an outsider,
and things like that. But being an outsider, sometimes you're like, okay, I see him, and obviously he's a hell of a coach and things, but you don't really see the other part. You don't really see the man that he was, and I think I thought that piece did a little of it. There's so much more to my dad than people realize. I mean, he was a master sergeant in the Korean War at 18 years old.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and he's. It was interesting when my dad passed at the funeral. They had some of his, guys that served with, and he might have been a better soldier than he was a coach. So it's interesting, when you go back and hear those stories and things. And I'll never forget. I remember asking my dad. I go, "Well, what's the best coaching job you ever did?" And he said, "Oh, it's easy. It was when I had all those young men with me in Korea and I got them out."
And he was
alive.
a kid at 18.
18 years old.
Yeah.
And that's where, what's the difference between you and your dad? I'm like, shoot, I'm not near as tough as my dad. And when you grow up in those situations, obviously you better be pretty tough.
Yeah.
Bill's head coach, Rex Ryan, listen, we really appreciate the time. We got a gift from our friends at Invo Coconut Water. You're practicing hard. You got to replace the electrolytes. I mean, this is for the other guys, really, but I'm going to read the thing anyway. We have the gift bag here from Invo. 2 bottles of Invo Coconut Water and a $50 gift card to Wegmans, my friend.
Oh, that's outstanding. Thank you very much.
Have a great rest of the day, Coach. We appreciate it.